G'day, welcome to the Be Well, Live Well podcast. I'm John, and today I'm joined by James Hayward from Jim's Life Coaching. James works with people who feel a bit stuck or unsure about their next step. And today we're having a grounded convo about how we got into this work, what coaching actually looks like, and who and what he's seeing out there. James, great to see you, mate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, John. Great to be here, mate.
And I suppose we better start with the origin story because you are the first life coach for one of Australia's biggest brands. Give us a skinny on how that came about. So just share some of the backstory.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Okay, so some of the backstory. My background, I'm an engineer by profession or study. I went to uni basically to learn how to learn. I was engineering as a corporate job. I started as a graduate working for a large multinational confectionery company. Progressed my way up through the ranks there into managing people and projects as an engineer. And after a while, I just decided that I think I wanted to move away from that and move into things like operations and supply and process improvement. I worked in my corporate career for that company for 25 years. And then after being made redundant from there, I looked to take my skills and apply them elsewhere. So I got a job for another multinational and worked there for about 3 years, doing the same similar areas. My last role at the company I was with for 25 years, I was looking after all of Australia and Asia product development and launching new products. In my next role, I was looking after, for that company, the process of introducing new products and product changes into markets for the company and all the brands across Australia and Asia. So a pretty good, corporate career. I didn't really listen to the universe when I got made redundant the first time, but I certainly did the second time, and I got coaching myself. So once I got coaching myself, I sort of thought about, well, what I want to do for the next lap of my career. And I wanted to do something much more meaningful, much more purposeful. And I also wanted to take control of my own destiny. And when I got coaching, I realized, really what lit me up and that I get out of bed for was helping people. That's the thing I really enjoyed about my corporate career, is the personal connection to my team and sort of coaching people and mentoring them and helping them become the best version of themselves that they can be. So that's how I got into coaching. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go into the coaching process because you've been doing this now. You're the first franchisee, so you've been doing it for a while. If someone lands in your world for the first time, what does a session actually look like?
Well, I guess everything starts with understanding why they're there to start with, right? People come to us because they might be feeling stuck in their life, whether that be in their business, it could be in their health, their relationships, their finances, personal growth. They know that they're sort of struggling with confidence or procrastination, things that really hold people back from really experiencing life to its fullest and stop them from being as happy as they could be. And so the first part is they recognize that, which is fantastic, and because they're aware. But that's probably sometimes the worst place to be, right? Because you realize that you're stuck or struggling to break through, but you don't know how to fix it and change it. So we really get in and understand, okay, well, what's going on for them and how's it impacting their life and how would they love their life to be? So our programs really start with goals, setting goals for how would you love your life to be in any area of what we call the wheel of life. A lot of people use this wheel of life, but it's really a holistic view of a person's life. So, a lot of the time people say, well, what do you do? Do you only do business? Do you only focus on helping people with their business? And the answer is no. We help the holistic person in all areas of their life because ultimately we all know probably that guy who's got a really successful business, but everything else is falling down around them in their life. Yeah, they're heading for divorce. They might be about to have a heart attack or their health's really suffering and so on. So the you that shows up in your business is the same you that shows up in your relationships, in your health, and when you're making decisions. And often that then affects every area of our wheel of life. So yeah, we get into goals, get people really passionate about their goals, get them excited and really inspired to go after this thing that would really change their life and they would love to have in their life. And that's what really then creates the desire that's important to get commitment for change.
a lot of people know what they need to do. So there's a gap between the knowing and doing. So I know to some fair degree what to do to make a podcast, but I'm not ripping them out in succession at the moment. Maybe you better help me get clarity or just asking for a friend. So how do you help them get out of their way on that one?
Well, I mean, that knowing doing gap, that's a really, it's great that you talk about it. A lot of people know about the knowing doing gap, but still don't actually do anything. So, what we sort of say is that success is only 5% so strategy is only 5% of success, right? Mindset is the rest of it, 95%, because knowing what to do is one thing, and that's an important thing, but then you've got to decide to do it. So that's another aspect of that 5%. But then it's the mindset piece that actually allows us to take action and do it. And a lot of people, I've got one client who really wants to improve his health, his business as well, but health is a big one for him. And he's struggled all his life almost. And he's probably read 100 books about health. He could probably write a thesis on it, right? But it's about then putting it into action and doing it consistently. So knowing is one thing, doing is another, but being aligned to it in your mindset, that's the thing that keeps us consistent and actually helps us drive sustainable change and permanent change in our life.
So a lot of your clients are on the tools type people, and they run businesses within the network involved with gyms, but also other businesses around. So they'd be dealing with a lot of day-to-day stuff. They'd be dealing with scheduling, invoicing, staff, and of course their family lives. How do you help them cut through the noise? There's a lot of self-improvement noise out there. So how do you help them just get very focused on what they need to do to make those adjustments or those tweaks?
Yeah, sometimes you talk about, you said the word focused. A lot of people struggle with focus. They want to have it all. They're trying to do so many different things and not really making a lot of progress, significant progress in any area, really. Some people struggle with being organized. They hate admin, and they let that then rule their life. I've just started working with a fella who I spoke to actually over 12 months ago. And at the time, he was fine. He didn't feel like he needed coaching, which is great, right? He's just getting into his business and a lot of exuberance. But I reconnected with him a year later, and he's like, mate, I really need help. Okay, my business isn't going as well as I really wanted it to. Everything is just hard. It's like a grind. And so oftentimes it's about deciding what you're not going to focus on can be just as important as what you are going to focus on, so that you can then preserve your attention for the things that are important. So I help people not only have a goal, but also then work out their priorities and then work out how they spend their time. Yeah, because I like to use this matrix of urgent and important. Have you heard of that one before? Urgent and important. Yeah, and a lot of the times, especially sole business owners or even people who run companies, because of how they've been brought up, because of their mindset, they feel like that they have to do everything, and that they have to be across every decision, they have to be across every detail in their business. No, they can let go of some of that. They can change some of their mindset, which is their program patterns of behavior, which in this case is the desire to control everything, and that would have come from somewhere in their childhood. But they can then realize that they can let go and trust other people and bring in experts in areas that can help them, so they don't have to actually be experts in all areas of their business. And so this guy actually, after just four lessons, he was actually telling me yesterday, that he's feeling so much more organized. He's actually starting to not put off and procrastinate about things that he has to do, but actually start taking action on just basic admin things for his business that he's been putting off for weeks. And it really comes from just helping him shift his mindset to one that's more biased for taking action and doing things now if he can't delegate them.
Mate, so you've touched upon mental fitness then, because if they're running a business and they're wanting to make improvements in their life, that perhaps falls in the wheelhouse of mental fitness as well. I feel like mental fitness, and this is just my personal view, ought to have a reframe, and that is, it can be a warts and all. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to look great. It just has to be the thing that's going to move the dial, and they can be good days and bad days.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess mental fitness for me is just having a mindset where we focus on the positives and we try to stay focused on the positives, but we accept that, hey, life's full of things that don't always go to plan. They don't always work out. And so there's an aspect of, developing resilience and grit and determination where if we fail, we see that as part of the journey, right? A lot of successful entrepreneurs and business people, they say that they fail their way to success at the end of the day. I had a great quote the other day. It was like, our failures are our tuition to future success, because ultimately we've already paid for them. If we stop treating them as failure, which defines me, but failure as a learning that then helps me grow and helps me then adapt and apply those learnings to my future or to share those with other people to help them as well, then we get to start to see failure as actually part of the journey and actually a positive. We can take a win as a failure because we've got a learning out of it.
Yeah, and it's feedback. It's real-time feedback. So you need to have gone into the process. That's where you get the data.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, most people in history, right, that I read about that have achieved and created things in their life, they haven't necessarily known how to do it, right? They've just had a vision and a big dream, a goal that was really inspiring, not just to them, but they were able to influence and inspire people around them. And even though they didn't know how to get there, they failed their way to success. They tried something and then iterated from that. And from there, they've actually taken learnings and created and attracted to them the people and the resources that they actually need in order to actually work out how to get whatever it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of, and it's certainly been a success for you. You were the first franchisee in the Gyms network in the life coaching health division, a brand that's primarily known for service-based jobs such as lawn mowing, test and tag. There are some other jobs. Was there a bit of pushback when you, like within the brand and like other life coach people taking propriety over the whole idea of, oh, you can't be a life coach for gyms? Like that would be the same as me going, I'm going to be a personal trainer at gyms. By the way, gyms is he's well set up to have a personal training division.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guarantee you there would be a lot of shade outside of gyms and from the greater fitness industry if I did that. Was it the same for you?
Possibly. I don't pay any attention to what anybody else says or thinks. I think that's one of the things we talk about mental fitness. We let other people, conditions and circumstance impact and influence our mindset, then we've lost the battle, right? Other people's opinions about me are none of my business.
I like this quote I heard somewhere, and I'm just paraphrasing. Unless they're paying your bills or healing your past trauma,
yeah,
then you don't need to regard their opinions and views.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And so, just sort of talking about that further, for me, coming from a corporate background, I've worked with marketing, alongside marketing, and in marketing for many years. And so there's a real power in brands. So prior to joining Jim's Life Coaching, I was out there, a lone voice in the wilderness for several months, trying to be James Hayward Life Coaching, right? Doing pro bono work and being a lone voice in the wilderness. So brands have power. They have awareness and recognition, and they stand for something. In particular, gyms, it stands for quality, dependability, and service. And that can be applied to any industry or any service that is under the gyms brand. And so, yes, it started with, say, your trades-based, your blue-collar type of services, but there's other services now. There's even the gyms legal, gyms healthcare, gyms finance, etc., that are going pretty successfully. And so for me, firstly, it's that brand awareness was really important. And I love the conversation where I walk in with my gyms t-shirt here and the conversation goes, oh, g'day, gyms, really? And they're like, yes, I now have an opportunity to talk to them about what I do. Whereas it was just, whatever, life coaching, you may not get that chance, and you get that opportunity to surprise people about all the great results that I'm getting with my clients. So the only people's opinions that I care about are my clients, to be honest.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And look, you're working with an array of clients, of course, some through the Gyms network and some that are not. How have you found within that launching and building your own coaching business? There must be tougher and easier weeks than others. I know we've chatted previously. You put a fair bit into your own health and fitness. Is that a cornerstone of how you go about it?
Absolutely. So I guess we always say that you are your first client. Yeah. So, and you have to be a product of the product, because it's hard to sort of promote something and sell something that you haven't experienced the benefits from yourself, um, and that you don't believe in. And so, I practice what I preach. I'm not perfect, by the way. I've got a coach. I've got several coaches, to be honest, in different areas of my life, in areas that I'm trying to be better at or more consistent at as well. And so for me, health and fitness is important. I've been on a bit of a journey. I've done martial arts for a very long time, and I've been on and off with consistency on that. I'm probably been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's probably my passion now, for about 13, almost 14 years, and I love it. But I'm also 51, so I'm getting a bit older, and my cardio I need to continue to work on. My flexibility continue to work on, but it's all in service to, I guess, having a consistent physical regime, right, that keeps me fit and healthy. Because I do believe that that's really one of the key sort of ingredients to a long and healthy life. It also helps with mental health. There's a real strong link between physical health and mental health. And that's probably one of the first things that I recommend to my clients who are struggling in the mental health. We sort of go to the classic, how are you going with physical exercise? Are you doing something that gets your blood flowing, gets you out into the fresh air and nature, gets you out into community? Because it just creates a better environment where we have the opportunity for healthy brain chemicals, endorphins, etc., to make us feel better mentally as well.
Absolutely. And
it comes together.
You make a good point there about grounding yourself in fitness and looking for ways to get that dopamine hit by getting outdoors and getting in nature and being around communities. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but I think it might have been Jordan Peterson. He said, basically, the things you've got to look at firstly is, are you tired? Have you drunk enough water? And have you exercised? Yeah. And if you haven't done those three things and your thinking's going a bit tanked, well, you probably need to just go back to the first thing on the flow chart and go, have I had enough water? Oh no, I'm a bit dehydrated. I'm pretty tired today.
So I'll probably add another one to that, which I often talk to my clients about. So look, I'm not a PT, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but there's some basics there. And what you just talked about there is a few of the basics. And the other one I'd add is nutrition. You can't out exercise a bad diet. I've been a product of that myself in the past, and so creating awareness of what we're sort of taking in is a massive one, because if we're not getting the right nutrients and, we're sort of going for things that are sort of too sugary, we're not being as full for as long as we want to, getting sugar spikes, etc. That's going to create mood swings as much as being tired will do it as well. So yeah, important.
I think guys need to hear this one I'm about to say. Someone needs to hear this. I'm going to say it. I spoke to Doc the other day. I went and got bloods, etc. And I had a bit of a period where I was a bit flat. I was just under par. And I know what he's been doing. He's been sort of nudging me. How you feeling? What's going on? And then the other day he said to me, you know what? Just think about it, but maybe go and see someone and speak to someone. And I thought about that and I thought, you know what? Like, I'm actually pretty happy with where things are at. Like, I am, I'm fit, I'm exercising, life's moving forward, but stuff it. I'm going to go speak to an impartial professional and unpack some stuff. That would be a good exercise to do. So I'm doing it. And men, if you're listening, don't wait till a catastrophe to do that. Go talk to someone. It's okay.
Absolutely, mate. That's such an important message. And I think, guys in particular, and I'm seeing not just guys, by the way, too, but, people that, there's a lot of single parents these days, whether they be men or women, or sole breadwinners in the family, that feel the weight of the world. Yeah, they always deprioritize themselves and their happiness for the things and the people that they are supporting and love. And as a result, mental health suffers. I often talk about with my clients, it's like a water level. It just rises and rises and rises. And all of a sudden we realize how unhappy we are. And, we get depressed and we sort of suffer anxiety and we, have all the symptoms of stress and that happening in our life. When we talk to somebody, we can lower that water level. And then when something happens, instead of being up here and something happens and we're sort of like this, it happens down here, and we can actually still breathe, and we get better in control of our emotions and learn strategies for handling the challenges and struggles of life better.
Yeah.
And when I speak to people, I really help them understand how our thoughts that we have, we can be in control of them. Yeah, nobody can cause you to think anything that you don't choose to think. And a lot of people don't realize that they have that choice. They just have thoughts and they let their thoughts run away with them, and they react to their thoughts, and they sort of end up feeling a certain way, and then they take actions as a result of their feelings. But you can actually control your thoughts, because your thoughts are constantly working to create your reality. And when you learn how to master your thoughts, and instead of focusing on things that bring you down, focusing on problems and current situations, versus what we teach people, which is focusing on what would you love to happen, where would you love to be, how would you love your life to play out, and get really emotionally involved with those goals, so that we start to then learn to use our thoughts to bring us up out of wherever we are and get us focused on the future.
I just want to add to that. There's no silver bullet. I think it's a stack. So if going to speak to a professional has a compounding effect, if you get sunlight, if you get enough sleep, if you journal, if you do a bit of breath work, if you do those things, you'll get much more out of that one thing that you're doing. And they all go in with each other, and that's the stack. And that's where the stack is important. James, James, I've clearly got to upgrade my Zoom plan. What's the one practical thing, maybe one or two, that listeners, viewers can take away today and get moving? We've touched upon a few, but if you've got any to throw in there, I know it's a question without notice, mate. Hit us with it.
So one thing I would say is that people only change when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of change. And I'll say that again. People only change when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of change. So the first thing to do is to just stop, reflect, and think about where you are now. And if things aren't going the way you'd like to in life, you can change them. Yeah, we don't have to accept our current situation and circumstances. So that's probably the first thing I'd say, is think about your current circumstances and think about, where will I be in 6 months' time if nothing changes? Whether it be in your relationships, in your finances, in your physical health, your emotional health. Right? Where will I be? And then that, what we call away from motivation, where we need to sit in that and actually feel that, and that'll give us the inspiration or a commitment to break the inertia of staying where we are, and then talk to someone who can get some help, so can give you some help. Work on think about where you want to be, your goals, and then think about what's holding you back and what's been holding you back. Yeah. And then what I talked about before is our thoughts create our reality. And oftentimes it's what's happening in our subconscious mind that is holding us back. It's keeping us stuck where we are. And unpacking that with a professional who can help you understand what's going on in your mindset can help you create awareness. And awareness precedes change. Without that awareness, we can't even start to decide what to change. But then when we create awareness about it, like you said before, journaling, meditation helps us create awareness. But then we get the opportunity to choose. We got the opportunity to choose what we do next, and what we don't change, ultimately we choose. We get to choose how we would like to change our life. And with better choices, we get better results. It's just naturally how it works.
Well said. I think I'm excellent. Well, so better leave it there. James, that was a great note to finish on. Thank you so much. People can find you via Instagram and Google up Jim's Life Coaching Ballarat, and I'll find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jim's Life Coaching Ballarat on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or can follow me directly on Facebook. It's James Hayward, Hayward on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Coach James Hayward on Instagram.
Excellent, mate. Your insights have been unbelievable. I really appreciate it. We appreciate you greatly being on the show today. I hope you continue to bring all this great work to people. You're making such a profound difference. I've seen you in person, talk to people, and you're in it for all the right reasons. You're making a difference. So thank you very much.
No worries, John. I love what I do, and it's what gets me out of bed every morning, and getting to see amazing results with my clients, saved marriages, improved health, confidence, businesses just smashing it. Mate, I can't get enough of it. So yeah, I just love it.
Excellent.
So thanks.
If you're thinking about making a few changes, or you want to move the dial, if you want to look at where your life's up to, please reach out to James. He's an absolute professional and he's an amazing human being. James, appreciate you, mate. Thanks heaps.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it, mate. Cheers.